Starting date, Wednesday, September 25th, 2013, at 5 hours 22 minutes and 12 seconds a.m.
Georgetown County 911.
Yes, ma'am. This is Paige Sawyer. I'm on the Harbor Walk behind Lippin James, and there's a fire, and somebody needs to come and put it out, please.
And you're at the Harbor Walk?
Yes, ma'am. Harbor Walk in the 700 block, probably around 7:15. And the fire is on the Harbor Walk side.
Business 17, right?
Yes, ma'am. Business. Highway 17, Front Street, 1 block down from the town clock.
27, 29, 35,
Oh, in the city?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I thought you were up on the beach side. Okay, so you're on Front Street?
Front Street, Highway 17, about 7:15 Front Street. 7:15 Front Street.
Okay, what's on fire?
A building. Ma'am, it's
Okay, I've got the fire department en route.
All right.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
You're welcome.
Ending date,
First call came in at 5:23. We arrived at 5:27, 4 minutes after the call. The spell in the first room of 30-minute response time to get to the fire ground. We arrived with an engine, a ladder, and a battalion chief. Our Station 2 from Maryville came across the bridge and immediately went and got our fireboat and deployed our fireboat. Okay? When they first arrived on the scene, when they pulled up on Front Street, there was no visible fire on Front Street itself. All the fire was at the back of the building. The battalion chief went to the back of the building, saw that, ordered the first engine to deploy a 2.5 inch, which is a large diameter fire attack line to the rear of the building to start fighting the fire. They began fire operations on that side, on the waterfront side of the building. Now, all of us know what's on the water side of that building, all that wood. That wood, with a little bit of breeze that was on the waterfront at that time, quickly overtook that water supply that was back there, very quickly, almost trapping my firefighter he came between the Buzzards Roof Alley or breezeway, if y'all know what I'm talking about. And he had to advance back through the breezeway without getting caught on the back of the deck. In the meantime, we had firefighters coming to the front door while my ladder operator was getting ready to put the ladder truck in the air. When he got to the front of the building exploded. Literally exploded. The facade went over the heads of the firefighters in the street. And when it went over, the bricks came down and rolled, between the concussion and the bricks coming down, rolled the firefighters in the street. At that point, and prior to that happening, we'd already had police officers helping us begin to evacuate some buildings. And when that happened, we went to what we call a defensive operation, because when the explosion occurred, the fire began to advance very rapidly through the Buzzards Roost building, on the back of the building, all the way across the back. And then we were more concerned about all the residents further down on Front Street. So we immediately began to evacuate people out of the buildings. And I've had reports from police officers who woke 2 or 3 people up, firefighters who got 4 or 5 people up in different places to get them out of the buildings prior to getting caught up in the building. So the next problem or concern that we've heard, well, it took you 30 minutes to put water on the fire. That's not so. The water was put on the fire immediately upon arrival. Now, it took a few extra minutes to get the ladder in the air because we had one person getting ready to put the ladder truck in service while everybody else was trying to evacuate people in the building. Life safety became the primary factor there. Then the ladder truck was deployed to begin putting the fire out. At that point, the fire was progressing. And there is a time frame in there, and somebody's got a video, they said, in a 5-minute time frame, you can see where the fire has advanced from behind the Buzzards Roost building all the way down past Jeanette Arts and Colonial Florist shop in the back, in a 5 to 6 minute time period. All right, that fire is just like moving gasoline across the back of these buildings here. Firefighters began. We called mutual aid from Georgetown County and Midway Fire Department immediately. As a matter of fact, when I was coming across the bridge, the battalion chief was already calling for help. They sent a ladder truck from Midway to help us on the west side of Front Street, which will be around the Maritime Museum. I called Chris, who was out doing his morning walk. He came up, and And I called the mayor to be out there as well too. And my first indication to both of them was simply, I don't know if we can stop it. We're going to try to hold it to this block. If we can stop it, we will. Our goal at that point, if we had to, was to stop it in the part before the river room, because it was moving so fast, and try to stop it at the town clock so it wouldn't jump. Because if you know, at the river room, you've got a larger area of a division there, as opposed to what you have between the town clock and the east side. And so that's why we made the attack where we did in that area. As the Midway crews were beginning to arrive, our fireboat is in the back trying to put to work on the fire in the back. But the boat that we have, y'all seen it before, it's a 500-600 gallon a minute portable pump, and the boat here is doing everything it can possibly do, and the fire is just walking across all that wood that's in that place in there. So we're doing that. The ladder's in the air. Midway comes in to assist us. At the same time, I also called for another engine company from Georgetown County to come in. I called for a ladder truck from Merle's Inlet Garden City Fire District to come over, who sent an engine and a ladder. Horry County Fire sent 2 ladders and 2 engines and the tankers over for water supply. We called, all that happened within the 10-15 minute time frame of what's going on. While we started doing all these operations here, we had no issues with water supply on the initial trucks. As we began to pull more hose lines off those initial trucks fighting fire, because we were only tied in at that time to 2 different fire hydrants, that's all. And then when the other mutual aid companies came in, they hooked other fire hydrants around the city to come into where we were. And then what we ended up doing, establishing, and if y'all, some of us saw it, people said, well, why'd you have tankers in here? Well, it takes a while to get the water supply down to the river to hook in, and get enough people to come do that that's not involved in fighting fire. So we set up a tanker water shuttle system over from the Carroll Campbell Boat Marine and landing in Maryville to help move water back and forth, till we finally established supply from the Georgetown Times Marina at that point. You know, our goal was, we realized we could stop it at the Goldlocks and Company building. There's a firewall there we used. We actually went inside T. Miller's building there with the Black Mingo Outfitters into the 2nd floor. We pulled the ceiling out and pulled all the coverings off the walls, because that's a firewall. That wall was, if you put water, it would begin to steam. That's how hot it got. And we had firefighters in here trying to keep that wall cool the whole time. And then we went down to the Maritime Museum to stop it at that. That is a fully sprinkled building. We immediately took a hose line, connect in there, so if the sprinkler systems begin to discharge, we can boost the flow in those sprinkler systems to help it out. We put a hose line there as a standby precaution. We had a report of the fire going across the back of the wall of Colonial Florist into the top 2nd floor window in the rear. We sent crews on the inside to put that fire out. And at that point, it became a time just trying to control the fire back to where it was. We ended up having the North Charleston fireboat came out to help us up from North Charleston. They're capable, they pumped 2,000 gallons a minute for 2.5 hours out of the bay into this fire. That's what their fireboat did. I think Jonathan Hill, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, he told me the next day it was between 1.5 and 1.75 million gallons of water that we pumped on the fire. And that is not including any water that we pumped out of the bay itself. And I'll tell you, I got a list here of who came to help us. And it is city firefighters, county, Midway, Andrews, Merle's Inlet Garden City, Surfside Beach, Horry County, Williamsburg County, Johnsonville, South Lynches, Conway, Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Allendale, North Charleston, Charleston, Somerville, Dorchester County, Florence County, and Jasper County. That's who we had. At one point, we had 125 to 150 firefighters working on the scene here. Then we had the Red Cross and the Salvation Army there providing food and drink for these guys while they're there. And we've been working 12-hour shifts down there ever since, keeping crews there overnight. Right now, we're there because the facades are weak on the front of those buildings. We've got those up there, police officers and firefighters, make sure nobody gets hurt there. We've had hot spots throughout the weekend, and you know, it's a tragic thing to happen. But I can tell you, from my standpoint as a fire chief, I'm extremely pleased that nobody's seriously injured. We had 3 firefighters very injured very lightly. One had damage to his shoulder or to his elbow. He's fine. One started getting severe cramps, and the other one got rolled up in this when the building collapsed in place here. But he's fine. All three of them reported back to the fire and wanted to go back to work. We had an initial report that we had one person missing from the Buzzards Roost building. When this explosion occurred, we sent firefighters in there, and then we couldn't find later he'd gotten out earlier. But that's what our guys did. I had a report. I've talked to the guys every shift since then, and the firefighter who was involved with where the explosion was, I talked to him yesterday, and his words to me was, he went down to the Colonial Florist building to search there because nobody knew if anybody was there or not. He goes in the Colonial Florist building when he gets there, and literally he gets out of that rubble pile, comes back down, goes to Colonial Florist building, gets to the second floor, and sees fire over his head. I mean, that's what our guys did. My hat's off to them. They did an extremely difficult and I think a very good job to hold it where they held it. I'll say enough about the Georgetown community, because they have really stepped up here. I don't think these guys, they couldn't walk around the other day without somebody giving them a bottle of water or a banana to keep them from cramping, or a pack of crackers or Gatorade. And we have people just come down and bring cases of water and just set it in the middle of the street and leave it. These reports was it was on the back deck of the Limpin James building. And you think about it, those wood decks are on the back there. This is like a big wide lumber yard. It's been sitting out there, heated up and dried, heated up and dried. And then you've got those that have varnish, you have paint, you have all the other things that go with that, and it just kind of moves across there very quickly.